we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's got to be the Shoes is already on the line with us. And thanks so much again for being part of the best Lakers chat that's out there anywhere right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Thanks so much for joining us. And once again, please go ahead and support us any which way you can right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, of course, the great folks at LakersBall.com. You know I got to do that voice just for you, Joe, now that because you've mentioned it every time. LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out what they're doing today at LakersBall.com, and they're not too happy as once again another last-minute collapse by the Los Angeles Lakers. Plus also as well, of course, our great friends at Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and check out Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet right there for you at Lakerholics.com. If you want your lawn transformed into something much more special than it is today, please go ahead and check out Symblades if you're in the Southern California area. Symblades with Y.com. Look at Joe doing with the styling, with the profiling, with his hair, his coif per se. And also as well, if you can go ahead and check out our good friends at Hoop Heads Podcast Network, that's truly appreciated. And remember, if you can, please go ahead and support us at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break for live watch parties. They're a lot of fun. You should hear us. We're talking about a whole bunch of things from around the world, from who has the best fast food sandwiches, Carl's Jr., hamburgers we got into, and also a deep dive. The Magic Man, Sean Grice, got into a deep dive on Jay Moore. And the only place you can hear that was at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, plus more trivia as well right there for you at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. So join in on the fun starting this Friday as we go ahead and try to entertain you during the games at playback.tv, because obviously watching the Lakers are quite frustrating. So join us there. And if you could support all of that, it is sincerely appreciated. It's been a great time so far until the Lakers in the third quarter and actually late in the second quarter took a double-digit lead into a double-digit deficit. And once again, they had to come from behind. LeBron James doing the LeBron James things. And it would look like the Lakers may be in contention for another win. But once again, the Lakers down the stretch managed to go ahead and poorly execute their way into another loss as they fall once again to the Sacramento Kings in another close loss that only the Lakers seemingly know how to do well this season. So the Lakers are now 20-25 on the season, mired near the bottom of the Western Conference standings, and really things are not looking really great right now. This is a homestand where everything was supposed to get right as far as the ship is concerned, get us back to 500 by the end of this month. And now it's looking tough for that. And here today to talk about first about what went on during today's game, about how the Lakers managed to go ahead and try to, do their best to mishandle and bungle a double-digit lead in the first half when they were looking so good. It's a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. You were a great part of our watch party, which again, if you want to hear Joe Soro unfiltered, you got to go ahead and check us out at Lakers Fast Break right there on playback.tv. It is a fun time indeed. And Joe, I know the frustrations in that last minute once again reared their ugly head.
Team is very good for the first 42 minutes, typically, or at least they've been recently. And then now it's become customary for the players to squeeze a little harder. Is that G enough? G?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
That just totally came out now. Pardon the pun.
Pretty good.
Alan LeBron cannot get traded due to his signing the extension until after the season.
The trading part has become this rallying cry that I don't think even changes anything, honestly, guys. I don't think there's anything this team can do to change a mental mindset that we've been continually explaining to everyone that they are just not focused to really win. It's not. They played with a lot of energy in the first quarter. I was pretty impressed at their defensive I don't want to say prowess, but at least in the first quarter, they showed something which I hadn't seen in a while, where I saw blocked shots. Oh, what a concept. I saw blocked shots in more than one sequence once a quarter. I actually saw it in a 3-minute sequence, same time. And the NBA roller coaster throughout a 4-quarter game is pretty much looking the same way, just almost exactly like the NFL, where the NFL, every game seems to be a close game now. How many games are going into overtime every year? It's the same thing in the NBA. There's this somewhat what looks like, I don't want to say it's fixed, but
it's not manufactured parody, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's so average. And then you watch the team when it matters, and they're so average. You look at the coaching decisions, it's so average. You look at the decisions that have been made recently from our esteemed front office, and it's below death. And we saw what was happening. And of course, what happens in the end, what's happened that's different recently is the refs are sticking it to us even more. That was a 4-point play. None got fouled. That should have been an and one. And it likely would have tied the game. I mean, Nunn is a very good free throw shooter. And that has been that we've lost 3 games because the refs did not call a foul on the last second shot. And they were clearly fouls. And the NBA officiating is mind-boggling to me at this point in how they can put machines on Mars, but they can't figure out how to officiate an NBA game. I want to know what is the problem? What is the problem? Now, if the ref was on the other side of the court and that happened, and if you look at the angle, you can't see the guy hit Nunn. Okay, you didn't see it. We've talked about that, right, G? We've talked about that. We've talked about why are they calling a foul when there wasn't a foul, right? But if you're calling a foul or you don't call a foul and someone's like, hey, man, what's up? You can say, I didn't see it, right? That makes sense. But she was standing right there. What is she looking at? Was she looking at the stars? Was she looking at Jeanie doing one of these every time a good play happened? You heard the crowd, guys. It's not just Lakers fast break.
Yeah, because we didn't hear the crowd.
Did you hear the crowd? That has to burn. That's probably one of the worst chants I think I've ever heard at a game. I mean, we hear the word BS. We heard the a-hole word. Sell the team? Yep. Wow. That is embarrassing. Embarrassing for a lousy ownership, management, lousy coaching, and that kind of team when it matters.
Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do fall 116-111 to the Kings, again going to 20-25. Just to give you a concept, before today's game, they were matching up the records from this year to last year, and we're actually 2 games behind last year to tell you how bad it is, and we all know what happened last year. Also as well, talking about today's game, good man indeed. He's the man from Toronto. He just can't get out of Toronto traffic, but he's here anyways, and he was a great part of our Lakers Fast Break Live watch party. Again, please help support us by going ahead and being part of our live watch parties. They're a lot of fun. Nick Molina, he was fantastic on the show tonight as well in the first half. You got to go ahead and check out what we're doing today at playback.tv. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Sean, you and I were going back and forth on today's game as far as, too much scoring, not enough scoring. I told you, you misunderstood what I was saying in the first quarter. I'm not saying and not disagreeing with you that it's bad. Every year the refereeing is bad, but I definitely agree with you that it's epically bad this season.
It is, Gerald. It's
The
it's
officiating is
across.
just absolutely horrible.
It's horrible. I've been to 4 Raptors games this year, and basically the consensus from both fan bases was that 3 out of those 4 games the refereeing was just awful. It's been glaringly bad, and Monty McCutcheon is the head of officiating, and so if anybody wants to send some angry emails to the NBA, make sure you CC Monty McCutcheon on it too. Um, they're supposed to go through a rigorous, vigorous, scrutinized process of being professional referees. It's not an easy job. I get that. I understand that. But there's a certain level of professionalism and, like Joe was saying, just straightforward common sense that you have to come to expect if you're going to be competent at your job. If you're not, you should find another profession. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of these officials should find another profession. They're not doing their jobs properly. For God's sake, there were 7 missed calls in the Lakers Mavs game. 7. 7. Usually a crew will miss maybe a handful at the most, but 7? That's way too many. It's gotten glaringly bad, and as Joe was saying, none was clearly
Well, hold
fouled.
on, Gary. We saw and we noted hundreds of empty seats in the
Yes.
stands tonight. It may sell out, but people are not going to the games.
No, and as we were talking during the game, Gerald, it just seems that even if they say they sold out, the crowds aren't there, and it's just become a very mundane, um, maudlin crowd because it's mostly corporate. It's mostly corporate interest, corporate dollars, corporate partnerships, and they're there to have a good time and laugh it up, and that's all great. But uh, most of us who go there want to watch the team and want to watch them win. And if they're not winning, or if they're not being entertained, they're just not going to show up.
Well, one of the things that was very disappointing to me, and Joe called this out, there was no need with the Lakers down 3 with over 30 seconds to play for LeBron to start chucking up threes, at least contested threes. I think
No.
he had a clear lane to the basket had he just tried to make the drive. Joe, you were hitting it right on the money in that last minute. The Lakers had a chance to win this game. Once again, poor execution and, like you said, the poor aptitude at the wrong time again cost us another game, another win.
It's you. They are what they are, and it starts from everyone. When I don't want to go off of basketball too much, but it does factor into the mental capacity of people in general, and this is a good microcosm to that. We live in a world that's gotten more and more fake, and people were already fake. We used to have, the story of Achilles and the Iliad, and the arrow taking him out on the Achilles. We all know that's BS. We know he didn't die because of that, but it makes us feel good. It makes it a cool story, and to some degree, we know it's fake. But that's like the movie 5,000 years ago. But in today's society, people act like it's real, and it's not. And we see a lot of fake stuff. And this is what happens when you're fake. When you're trying to be something you're not, and the pressure gets put on you, what happens? Usually, what is it? The midnight strikes. The coach turns into a pumpkin. And that's essentially what we have. We have a bunch of pumpkins. I mean, I'm talking from top.
A pickle don't turn back into a cucumber.
From top to bottom. And it's the little things. And this is just not just the LA Lakers. We're talking about the LA Lakers because this is an LA Lakers show. But I see this every day. I see it every day. The fakeness of living up to something and saying the right thing and doing the right thing. What does that even mean, the right thing? I'm going to make the right decision here. I'm going to whatever. Okay, you make the right decision according to whatever book you have. What happens when that doesn't work? Now, I'm not telling you to go, run over a child, okay? I'm talking about
I hope not.
Yeah, I'm talking, I'm just making sure.
Joe,
I'm just making sure here, people.
Good thing I know a lawyer, but my God.
Right. That life has exceptions.
Might as well just shut down the channel now.
No. So my point is when you go, if you're going to show me that you're skilled, your ability to adapt and figure something that goes wrong out is going to tell me a lot about who you are in your position. This is not a life or death thing, guys. This is me trying to put together just regular life into the sport. Everybody's going to be okay. Everybody's rich and on that team. They're all going to live good lives. No one got hurt, really. But we're talking about it in the concept of the result of what we're watching. I don't dislike Darvin Ham personally. I don't dislike LeBron personally. I don't dislike anybody. I don't even dislike Jeanie and Rob. I'm talking strictly their profession and how bad they are at it. And they are really bad. I mean, really bad. And Jeanie was never really good. We got this false sense of something when we won the 2020 title. Rob, when you look back on his, I guess, resume, he never really made a significant anything. I mean, he's had an agency dictate everything for him. And anything that he's been in charge of, he's butchered. Then you bring in a rookie coach who was an assistant coach for a decade. I said this on the last show. An assistant coach for 10 years. I think he was an assistant coach for more than that, actually. An assistant coach.
Yeah. He was on the 2012-2013 Lakers staff.
So you already had intimate knowledge of this guy's skill set, and you still waited 10 years to hire him. That's like the equivalent of a 4-year player in basketball. 4-year players in basketball in college good players don't do that. They go one and done. So they couldn't even get that right. And I'm going to give Darvin Ham a little bit of a leeway here, even though he's terrible right now, because it is his first year. He's only been a head coach for 3 months. Maybe he'll figure something out next year. But I saw such good basketball, even when they were playing a little bad and they were down a few points to Sacramento. It's the NBA. Again, 9, 10-point leads, 11-point leads. That's like a 3-4 point lead these days. They made a comeback. They tied it. They took the lead again. But as soon as that halfway mark of the fourth quarter hit, it looked like they didn't know how to play basketball. Mm-hmm. And that is frustrating. That means, and I've been watching a lot of choking the last few years. I mean, the worst manager I've ever watched with the amount of talent that he has, Dave Roberts, is the massive choker. I mean, he can't motivate a bird to fly, okay? He just cannot motivate jack squat. So if you're sitting there telling me about analytics or display this, that, okay, what do you need a manager for if you're just punching the numbers? How about inspire people? Dusty Baker did it. Why can't go get somebody like Dusty Baker then if you can't motivate or if you can't win because this guy's not doing what he's supposed to do? So Darvin Ham, he sets a play which was correct, and you guys just, I'm going to tell you what I see, right?
No, you're very shy.
He did call for LeBron to go to the hole, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Great call. Here's the problem. What if they seal the lane? Now what? All of a sudden, LeBron can't get to the hole. He backtracks. Looks like he's never played basketball. Looks like he's never run a secondary or a third option on a last play. And what do we do now? Whose job is that to make sure that works? How about put a play together where, hey, if they seal that lane off, we got to have guys, moving around or doing something, right? Instead, all I see is a bunch of people going, just like us. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do as viewers. You guys are supposed to be doing stuff. And I know it's weird, but guys, it doesn't matter if it's $1 billion company. Again, I'm going to point back to you because you know everything. That's why your middle name is Genius. You've seen what's been going on in the video game world, the Apples and all these billion, trillion dollar valued companies. They're all losing.
Afford an Apple laptop.
They're all losing. They're all getting rid of people and develop. Just because it's the Lakers, just because you got a lot of money, doesn't mean you know what the hell you're doing. And that's what's been going on a lot in a lot of things. And the Lakers have fallen into that. And that's because at the end of the day, guys, when you're a fake Mark, I don't want to finish that line. When you're fake, I mean, they're starting to live up to that name. I remember I used to hear that LA Fakers thing all the time. I used to get mad too. But they've turned the L into an F. And their performance is equal to that.
Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do fall 116-111 to the Sacramento Kings. I do want to mention something before we go ahead, and there's a comment that Zangerstein said in here a second, but I do want to welcome anyone on the 15 new Facebook groups I joined today that celebrate the Lakers. We are Laker fans too. We're the Lakers fast break. I just want to let you know we are on every post game. We're the best Lakers post-game podcast that's out there. No one does it better than us. No one has more opinions than us. No one has better opinions than us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So if anybody's out there that's new, that's just checking us out for the first time, please go ahead, like and subscribe so you get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But Zangerstein said something I wanted to go ahead and note during your rant, or one of your rants. I don't know which one, but one of them. Joe, that's because they're playing two types of basketball. They're playing super fast all game, which they should, but in the clutch, you can't do that because the defense has already adjusted. We talked about this during the show, at the live Lakers Fast Break live watch party, Sean, about how the Lakers have a certain way of playing for 3.5 quarters, but when, in fact, that's at the NBA, they're up and down. Resistance is as Jamie said, resistance is futile, throwing the Borg Star Trek thing out there. And then, the defense, there's not much of it, for 3.5 quarters. Then when it gets serious, then the Lakers have to go ahead and rely on their half court game. It gets pretty ugly when that happens.
Absolutely, Gerald. And you have to wonder, what are they doing in practice?
Practice?
Yeah,
Did
practice.
they actually practice?
Yeah, you would think, right? You would think these are professionals. They run through sets, they run through schemes, they run through scenarios.
Allen Iverson didn't have any of that.
No, but that's.
You think LeBron James? How many times does he actually practice?
You know what? I doubt he does much anymore, but he watches practice. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's on the sidelines because he's still there.
Mm-hmm. Gerald, this might be one of the. I mean, the kids and their half court sets were just awful, but other than that, this is pretty brutal. Watching a bunch of veterans who can't even muster 1 point per possession. I mean, they can't even average 1 PPP in the half court. That's bad. That's really bad, ladies and gentlemen, because 1 is average. And the Lakers are barely above 0.95, which is just that's G League level. And Gerald had mentioned it before that he's seen some high school prep teams who can run better half court sets than the Lakers.
Well, again, also as well, just want to make sure we also mention our Courtside Lakers Instagram. Give a big shout out to you. Please go ahead, follow, like, and support. And if you want, again, please go ahead and subscribe on YouTube so you get the latest notification when we go live on here. Joe, I mean, I've got a question for you from John McKinley, and he brought up something pretty good. Is it all on the coaching?
No, it's everything. It's from top to bottom. This team has set itself up to be losers. This taking a vacation once every 3 games, this inability to improve the team, the coaching staff not being able to run a simple play. I mean, when was the last? When I'm giving Darvin Ham a benefit of the doubt somewhat because he is a rookie coach. Maybe he can improve next year after a year of training because we'll be out of the. I mean, if we make it as a 10th spot, we'll probably be done one and done anyways. This team is, I don't even know what the word to use other than incapable. They're incapable of being winners because they play and they think like losers. Yes, they think and play like losers. And if you're not gonna try to win, if you're not gonna try to make a shot, John's talking about they lost track of the time. Yeah, because their mind is focused on mistakes. Why do you think they didn't shoot?
And that was a great statement, not question for you, John.
It wasn't a great statement. It was a terrible statement, but
it was a great statement.
No, it was terrible. Disagree. John, your statement was terrible.
I disagree.
I just had a rant for 20 minutes about fake crap. I'm telling you the truth.
But
this has nothing to do with losing where the clock is because their mind is somewhere else. It's fear. They're fearing mistakes. They're fearing, if I miss the shot, I'm going to get yelled at. They're like children, okay? This team has a loser's mentality, and we've been talking about it for almost half a year now, or more than a half a year, half the season. It is what it is. That's it. There is nothing else to discuss. Is this going to change? I don't think so because no one's doing anything.
It's strange. Like Joe was saying, for 46 minutes, its team is competently competitive, but then, for some reason, the last 2.5, 3 minutes, they're the most inept, incompetent group I've ever seen. The almost inversion of what they are for the first 45 minutes. It's something to behold. I'm a big stats guy. I like stats. So does Joe, and Gerald does too. So here are a couple stats for you.
Throw it at me, baby. Throw it at me. Come on.
So of the Lakers' 20 wins, only 7 of them have been by 10 points or more. Okay. Of their 25 losses, 16 of those are by more than 10 points. So when you look at the point differential, it goes like this. It goes down, goes a little up, down, goes a little up. That's what this team is. It shows usually a team that wins close but loses close. They're not a very good team. They're in the NFL. You'd basically be an 8-8, 7-9 team. That's what we are. We are an 8-8, 7-9, basically. I think we'll be lucky if we win 40 games this year.
Well, we got to win 40 games this year in order to even sniff the play-in.
You're asking a lot there, Gerald. So we're 20-25, 45 games played. We have 37 left. That would mean the Lakers would have to go 20-17. That means they're playing above Bohr. I don't think that's going to happen.
Once again, it's the Lakers losing 116-111. They fall to 20-25. John McCallion of the John McCallion YouTube channel says 40. Lucky if we win 30 at this rate.
He's about right.
And I try to be something I'm usually not, the positive guy heading into this homestand. I was going 4-1 on this homestand. Lakers can turn around. They can go ahead and do some good things. Right now, they're staring at a 1-4 homestand if they lose on Friday. How big of a failure, Joe, will that be?
I want to know I would love to. I would love to be in on the hiring process in the NBA. What constitutes as bringing in someone in terms of a general manager or player personnel type, and then a coach? What makes you think that a certain coach is ready to be a head coach? Does he have a specific system? Does he motivate a certain way? Can he adapt to certain things? Or is this just a kind of like, well, let's hope he's good?
Well, he had a great haircut. He looked great.
Are we picking head coaches like casting directors pick hot chicks?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, I would like to know that. And the NBA has always been a little bit more difficult because it's that top 5 player, top 10 players that dominate the team, because you don't get that talent just around the corner. You can't draft somebody in the second round and they become Tom Brady or someone that's a franchise player. You have to get those high picks that have, out of this world talent. And if those guys,
I'll just say this. As far as NBA head coaching goes, and the history of winning coaches, it's usually not the stars or superstars, and it's not even the role players, really. It's more of the grinders who've ended up winning a lot. Pat Riley was a grinder. Phil Jackson was a grinder. Larry Brown was a grinder.
Darvin Ham is
no, hold on, Joe. Hold on. I'm not finished yet. When you look at today's landscape, I'll use an example. Willie Green. Willie Green is doing a great job in New Orleans. Willie Green was a grinder, same as Darvin Ham. But yet Willie Green and his system and his schemes are much better than Darvin Ham's. Now, why is that? Is it because Willie Green has better overall talent? Probably. But Willie Green doesn't have LeBron James on his team, and he doesn't have Anthony Davis on his team, and he doesn't have Russell Westbrook on his team. Those are 3 Hall of Famers. What Hall of Famer is on the Pelicans right now? And don't say Zion. Yeah, so basically he's got no Hall of Famers on his team, and he's got him, well within a solid playoff position. All I'm saying is this. You're right, Joe. I think there's something to be said about in the NBA especially, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But when you pierce through the BS, the best coaches are the ones who grind it out. Steve, so when you look at the past 4 coaches not named Steve Kerr who've won NBA titles, let's go through the list. Ty Lue. Was Ty Lue a great role player? Not really. He did his job. Was Nick Nurse? Not really. Didn't play in the NBA, but he was a grinder everywhere he's ever been as a coach. Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel didn't play in the NBA either, but Frank Vogel was a video coordinator similar to Eric Spoelstra, and he worked his way up through the ranks. And we'll go even further beyond that. Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle also was not a great role player. He played his role on a team at the end of the bench. So what I'm saying is, it's not necessarily where you came from. It's what, like Joe was saying, what skills did you acquire in your playing career or in your coaching career that reflect success in the NBA? Well, Joe is right. An owner, an executive, if that guy's got no experience, you've got nothing to go on. Just, it's a gut feeling. I got faith in him. That kind of BS.
Well, with the Lakers again still ending up losing 116 to 111, the calls are out there. I think this was a boiling point, Joe, when you have the crowd at the Crypt just unloading. And I think it's a message. And I don't know if she was there with Jay Moore, who was the subject of much conversation during the first quarter and actually during the course of the past couple of days. It's so funny because we were communicating on some, back end stuff, and this picture of Jeanie and Jay Moore are at the sideline, and everybody's talking about all these other things organization wise. I'm going, what the hell happened to Jay Moore?
Yeah, Gerald's like, Jay Moore really let himself go.
Yes, and he's younger than me. And he's almost 10 years younger than Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is flying out of planes, and his co-star, Jerry Maguire, looks, well, okay, I don't want to go ahead and go too much.
Like,
I think you guys forgot that he's Tom Cruise and he's Jay Moore. That's why.
Yeah, well, that's why Sean went, but that's why, Joe, Sean went on a deep dive into Jay Moore that you could only hear on playback.tv/Lakers.
I'm just wondering if he realized that when he put that shirt on, that when they took the photo, it would be the most unflattering photo he ever had in his life. If he,
give him more time. Give him plenty more time sitting at Lakers games with Jeanie.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Gerald, because I think maybe this might cause him to just rethink his whole wardrobe. Just go a size too big. No. Gerald's like, nope.
Joe, I want to ask you this. I mean, the frustrations are beginning to mount with this team. The team is now 20-25. They're falling further and further down in the Western Conference. I'm not exactly surprised where they're at. Remember, I was the one that was actually picked them the lowest out of anybody. I picked them 10th, so they're even below my expectations on what they were going to do this season. Where do you go from here? I mean, this is a team that can't defend at all to any measure. They have problems and issues, defensive rebounding. Their transition is great, but their shooting, and I'm being nice when I'm saying this, at the very best is inconsistent. Where do you go from here? Because it looks like there's going to be a whole bunch of buyers, not too many sellers. So it looks like the Lakers might not even be able to make a deal, even if they want to make a deal before the deadline. That's really going to help the team.
Even if they want to do what? What deal? What deal would they want to do? They don't want to do
anything.
Who's out there? They don't want to go over the threshold. That's all. That's already been said. They want a 2-for-1 kind of deal at the dollar store. They don't care about improving this team this year. And LeBron is stuck because where's he going to make his money? Who's going to drop 50?
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere because no one's going to pay or trade for him.
Can we finally put this to bed?
It has to be
anywhere.
Yeah,
he's not going to leave Los Angeles.
No one's going to pay. This is the NBA. It's different than football, right? Where you can hide things with signing bonuses. You gut your team for LeBron in the summer just because he demands a trade. They couldn't even do it for Durant, and Durant's somewhat still in his prime. So, I mean, LeBron seems to be still in his prime too, but it's just not. It's over. It's over. The NBA has changed, everyone. The NBA has changed, and this is kind of a good thing because it was kind of getting out of hand where every other month somebody wanted to get traded. And this summer, if there was one positive with this, like the owner's like, no, I ain't trading you anywhere. You just stay there then. And the issue here is we are not demanding. We're not demanding excellence. We're saying it's okay, he's doing his, half-court work, and he might come back before the All-Star break. And, LeBron's going to sit the Denver game after we just finally got some motion and some winner mentality. 5 games is a lot of games to win in a row, even if you're good. And you crapped it all away because you wanted to rest. Because every time you lose that sense of urgency, you're like, oh, okay, good. And then guess what? Boom, those bad habits start coming back. All that tightness, all that tight. I was reading an article today about Rob Gronkowski and how playing for the Patriots, he was saying it in a subtle way that when they would lose games in New England. It was depressed. It was depression all week. And he said, when we won, we were only depressed for a little bit at the beginning of the week. So we wanted to win.
Horrible trade, Jim. That's a horrible trade that Bobby Marks is suggesting.
That's they created such a winning culture that you wanted to win because you didn't want to be depressed. Imagine that. This is grown men talking like this, and the right guys were able to make it happen, whether it's Bob Kraft, Bill Belichick, all that stuff, right? Winner's mentality, guys. It can never turn off. If you want to be an okay winner, a sort of winner, and everybody's definition of winner is different, but if we're going to look at, let's say, LeBron James's career, let's put it in perspective. LeBron is playing his 20th season in the NBA. Would it be safe to say that he's, other than Shaq and maybe Wilt, he is the most imposing physical specimen that's ever played in the NBA?
There's no debate.
Matter of fact, you can even put him in front of Shaq and Wilt to a degree because he's a gigantic man who can control the ball. Okay? And
there's Frank Sinatra had a great quote. He said there's something to be said about longevity.
So 20 years, physical specimen, still playing at a high level, right? Good for him. But there's one thing that I pay attention to. Why has he only won 4 championships in 20 years with that kind of talent? When I look at Shaq's career, he played, I think, 19 years. Barely. I mean, he really played 14,
16.
but
Yeah.
Was it 16?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm almost certain, yeah.
When did he retire? In 2009?
His last season was 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at Shaq's career, Shaq won 1 MVP because, and I'm not trying to dog on Shaq. He got us a 3-peat. I love Shaq, but it's still, at the end of the day, if you're looking at it from an objective standpoint, he left a lot on the table. Wilt, who should have won 6-7 championships during his time, only won 2. It's a little bit of a damper. Jordan, why is Jordan known as the number 1 guy of all time? Because he was always winning at the right time.
I will say this, though, in Wilt's defense, in all 4 years he was with the Lakers, they went to the finals. All 4 years.
Yes, but that 1970s, or I should say 1969's, the issue with the coach was.
Well, but what I'm saying is, because me and Gerald had this conversation previously. If you compare Wilt's Laker career to LeBron's, Wilt is ahead of him. He made the finals all 4 years he was with the Lakers. They each have one.
I don't put a lot of stock in finals appearances, unfortunately. I know that there's a status there. But
I think there. Why do you say that, sir?
Because we're seeing the results of that kind of mentality. It's not a winning formula.
Yeah, but I think it's.
Sean, do you remember? Sean, do you remember? I'll let you finish your talk. I just want to ask you this quick question before I forget.
Sure.
Do you remember in 2009, after the Lakers beat Denver in the Western Conference Finals? Do you remember how the locker room was when they were being presented the Western Conference trophy?
Yeah, they were all stoic. They were
stoic.
Celebrating.
I remember Derek Fisher had his arms around his back, and he's just sitting there going like, whatever.
Yeah, I remember that too, sir.
You cannot go. I'm going to use an analogy here that everyone will identify with, at least most will. When you fly first class, it's very difficult to go back to coach. Mm. That was our first class. I'm used to this. And why do I hold? because I don't want you all coming. Oh well, Joe, stop living in the past. No. I am not living in the past. You, the audience, the people out there, the media, you're telling me this guy is the greatest of all time. You're telling me that. I didn't say it. He's the greatest of all time. There is no timeline when it comes to greatest of all time. That's a different beast. You want to show me you're the greatest of all time, you win the game tonight. You win the game in Philly. You win the game in Philly before that. You get those things done. You play in Denver. Now, if you lose like Jerry West used to lose, I'll tip my hat off to you. You tried your best. You know when someone goes all out. You know. You can tell. You go all out, I will tip my hat and say, you know what? I saw your effort. I saw every ounce of energy put towards it, and you did. There's nothing else you can do.
So 4-6 in finals versus 1-8. I love Jerry West. I love Jerry West. He's in my top 5 personal favorite players of all time. And I didn't even watch him play. I've only basically just seen game films and highlights. But there were 3 separate occasions when Jerry West had either a 2-1 lead or a 3-2 lead on the Celtics, and the Lakers just couldn't close the deal. They couldn't close the deal. For God's sakes, there was that. I don't think many Laker fans will forget that Jack Kent Cook had the balloons all ready to go, and that blew up in his face. Jerry West is on that finals team. Like I said, Joe, I commend Jerry West for making all the finals he made. I think making the finals is a lot hard. It is so hard. It's only one team can win. Only one team can win. But when you get to the finals 8, 9, 10 times in your career, even if you've only won 1 or 2, that's still 1 or 2 championships more than most legends have. So I think the game is obviously different, but I think going to 8 straight finals is something that will never be duplicated ever. It's not going to happen again.
Well, they said that They said that after the Celtics dynasty, it happened again. I don't know.
Yeah, but one individual now making 8 straight. That's almost unheard of.
I'm not trying to dilute it here, but the East has been terrible for a better part of a quarter of a century, and we know very, very well and Sean, I know you have got a memory like an elephant. If LeBron was in the West, he wouldn't have sniffed 3 in a row. The East was so bad.
You're right,
The East was so bad.
It was tilted, no doubt.
Between 2000 and 2012. And it took Chris Bosh from Toronto, Miami, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron having to come from Cleveland.
Sangerstein says, "Don't forget the Warriors." By the way,
I don't. Why do I want to remember the Warriors?
They've been to so many. They were 5 out of 6 in finals, going to straight final. Yeah, something like that. So
they went in 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And they won.
Cleveland won 16.
Yeah,
I know they went to 5 straight finals. Yeah, but they won 3. So what are we talking about?
I think Zangerstein was just asking to clarify as far as
Jim Howe says Grizzlies gonna smoke us, Jag gonna cook. Yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen.
Well, let's ask this before, because Douglas brings up a good question, Sean and Joe. Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose 116 and 111. Douglas Jenkins is in the chat asking you guys. Let me ask you something, guys, or me as well. Why the Lakers have to pay the Lakers tax and the Celtics don't? It's a good question, because I think the Celtics do have a level of arrogance as far as their team, the way they run the organization in the past. Obviously the 17 world championships like us is something that they crow about as well. But I think because the atmosphere, the limelight, Hollywood, that whole 9 yards. I just think the way that the organization here is represented and also portrayed is part of the reason why the Lakers tax exists.
So the
Plus,
tax,
also plus also the way they've gone about their business, as the way compared to the way that the Celtics have gone, around, and the way that they've done their business. Like when
What
Danny
tax?
Ainge was
What are you guys talking about?
the Lakers
So-
tax. They're talking about how
so-
the Lakers have to pay more for, let's say, a trade or something than, let's
Okay.
say, another team.
Okay.
The supposed Lakers tax, because it's
Okay.
the Lakers doing the deal as opposed to someone else.
Okay, so the
another-
Laker tax really started from that pipsqueak in Dallas, that hypocrite old decrepit guy in San Antonio, and then that Quicken Loans schmuck in Cleveland. Okay, it started with those guys, especially Cuban. Cuban really pisses me off because that guy yaps about America and freedom and all that, and then he went straight, you know what, when he wasn't getting his way.
Oh,
And-
he made one of the worst blunders in free agent history. He let Steve Nash walk out the door.
He you want to talk about blowing up a championship team? They win the title in 11, and he thought he was going to go get everybody. Like, no one wants to go play over there, and we all found out what they do behind the scenes over there, right?
Well,
So-
so wait, hold on, Joe. I'm sorry, but just what you said there. Nobody wants to play there. I could say the same thing about Boston. To answer Douglas's question, when's the last time a premier free agent ever went to the Boston Celtics?
Would you consider?
Not trades. I'm talking about just straight up signings.
Was he traded? From Atlanta? But he's on the team right now. I'm totally drawing a blank here.
Al Horford?
Al Horford. Didn't Al Horford sign as a free agent?
He did, but
That was like the first one in years.
And then
yeah,
he got
but,
traded,
like,
but then he got brought
would you have-
back.
At the time, would you have considered Al Horford a top 10 player?
Okay,
in
the
the
problem
NBA?
with Boston,
They can't
unfortunately,
get free agents to go there.
the problem with Boston is they had a social issue in Boston similar to Philly. I think Boston might have been worse. And the other thing is, beyond that, it's freaking the East Coast. No one wants to play. People want to play in the sun. They want to play in Miami and LA or
You
Phoenix.
gotta overpay. You gotta overpay if you're a coastal city, whether you're on the East Coast or the West Coast. But Joe's right. Boston, Toronto, New York, Brooklyn.
The tax now, the Laker tax is the buffoon that's the general manager. That's the tax now. We're not going to give you jack squat. We know you're desperate. Look, come on, guys. This is a common sense thing. They know the Lakers are desperate. They're not going to give them jack. They're not going to give them anything.
EFC, that's great.
They're not going to give them anything. And at the same time, the NBA culture right now has changed. The NBA culture has made it impossible to make a trade of any significance because almost every team has a chance to still make the playoffs. So there's really no fire sale.
It's diluted. It's diluted the winners and the losers. It's really diluted it.
It is. They made Adam Silver has overcorrected a little bit here in so many ways, and it's sad because I like Adam, but he needs to get this player participation thing situated. And if they go with a hard cap, which I'm thinking that's the route this is going to go, we are in really, really big trouble because now we're going to be watching the NBL, the National Basketball League, aka NFL, just 9 and 8 teams all over the place.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Thanks so much for joining us. I truly wanted to say thank you again to everybody out there that's catching us for the first time on Instagram and Facebook. Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Gerald, it just dawned on me, but it's interesting. And
I love it because we've got the feisty Sean. I remember when Laker Tom was going on, and he would you would not want to interrupt him, or somebody else would go on. Jamie,
or I'd raise my hand.
You'd raise your hand. Go ahead, Sean. I feel like I'm in class. Go ahead, Sean.
It's interesting, Gerald. Joe was talking about the incompetency and the buffoonery and the maudlin way that the the Lakers front office runs things. I find it very interesting. Do you remember? I think it'd be a few weeks ago. There was a sneaky little report that Jeanie Buss said she's the one who signed off on the AD deal, but she won't say publicly that she signed off on the Russell Westbrook deal. She puts that in the lap of Rob Pelinka. I just find that very interesting. And I'm gonna bring up a quote again because I like those and I think they fit into the analogy. President Ronald Reagan once said that it's amazing what you can accomplish when no one cares who gets the credit. And it just seems like the Lakers front office is deciding, well, I'm going to blame you for this and I'll take credit for it. And if things go sideways, they're going to get blamed and we'll fire him or we'll demote them, but we're going to be okay. That's what it seems like. Am I off base here or do you guys agree?
No, you're right on the money, my friend. We're not disagreeing you in the least. In fact, we actually stand behind you on that because it's just right now it's everything you fear as a sports fan when it comes to what they're doing right now. It's everything you fear about how it's being run.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Sean. And this is why you have to cut in sometimes, because sometimes you have such an amazing response to something. You need to get to it right away, unless it's
Gerald. Telling you this for years.
Because then I gotta
Gerald's been telling you this constantly. Chime in, you so and so.
So that's a great point, because look what's happened to the Dallas Cowboys the last 27 years. You had an insecure, rich, money, all that stuff, right? All success, right? You had an insecure man who he probably cost himself God knows how many titles because he wanted the credit. For who? For what? What? You're the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. You would have gotten credit. Why does it have to be in front of the camera and me going, hey, tell me what's going on. Hey, tell me I'm cool. Tell me I'm good. Right? Yes, so now that makes sense. It makes sense when you give this kind of details out. It starts to make sense why you have these kind of people running a sinking ship. You have people who don't have any business in the position they're in. No business. Jeanie has no business being an owner of an NBA basketball team. And it's not just her. It's not just her. It's just we're talking about her because she's the owner of our team. She has no business running. She should go back, like I said, sell tickets to the circus. She's good at that. Rob Pelinka has been hated by general managers because he's an agent. It's natural, right? Agents are trying to get money for their clients, and that's what they do.
Pricks. That's
now, on top of that, he is a snake. And maybe that's why Kobe liked him, because Kobe liked snakes. But I never saw Kobe being a snake, which is weird. It's just I still think, and I'll take this to the end. I still say that Rob Pelinka was on his best behavior when Kobe was around. When Kobe died, it turned into that the matriarch or the patriarch passed away, and then all the runt kids became who they really were before, because they had to answer to somebody when they screwed up, when the parents were still alive, or one of the parents was still alive. As soon as the parents are gone, as soon as the authority's gone, boom, they turn into the scumbags that they really are. And I'm been around a long time, guys, 44 years, almost 45. People will tell you who they are very quickly. And 99% of the time, it's true. So every leadership position, except to some degree with LeBron, because his talent is so out of this world that it's able to kind of cover some ground. But the problem with LeBron, and it's always been there, is the last 6 minutes of a game. He's not really – he is a B- player at that point. He's a B- player. He's not average. He's B-. And it's cost him a couple titles. It has. It's cost him it's a reality. It's the reality of it. He should not have lost in 2011 against Dallas. You're up 2-1. You should have won that series.
Yes.
And it's just not. It's just. I don't know. I just feel like I'm repeating myself after every show. But we have to.
Our crowd is responding to it, Joe, and they're respecting you and backing you 100% on that. So you get a lot of love from our crowd.
What's good is we're getting some good examples. I thought that Reagan quote was so just absolutely perfect.
Right on the money. Yeah.
And when you're in a setup, doesn't matter if it's work or at home or whatever, you should let the results dictate your feelings. So if my kids turn out to be productive human beings, what am I gonna do? Go around, go, hey man, it's because of me. I got my wife here too. Like what do you do? Like what's that gonna do? Are you gonna get like, are people gonna come to your house and go, hey man, good job raising your kids? I'm gonna tell you this every day for the next 30 years. Like, what is with this adulation? The end result should be enough. Win a championship. Win it, whatever you're doing. Accomplish what you're doing. That should be enough. You sought out what you wanted to get and you got it. Why do you need to be patted on the back every 5 seconds? Are you this pathetic? I guess maybe most people are.
Reggae Joe was asking Sean a most pertinent question. What is your favorite burger topping? That's probably the most random question we've had on this show that didn't include something as far as from a sex spot.
Jalapenos.
Yeah, that is not only a random question. That is a fantastic question. Because if there's one thing I love almost as much as the Lakers, it's beer and barbecue. So my favorite burger topping, would probably be, you know what? It'd be a combo. It'd be mustard and ketchup.
Mustard's always good. Mustard is always the right answer. Although I gotta have pickles and some
pickles.
Bacon.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Bacon, onions.
You can't have a burger without pickles.
Yeah, absolutely. Steak fries are the best fries, says John McCallion. There you go. Reggae Joe says thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Not only do we talk
Tell
about
us
burger
what
toppings,
your favorite toppings are, Reggae Joe.
Yes, we want to hear from you in the chat. What are your favorite burger toppings out there? Because it keeps the conversation going. Petting My Cat says onions are trash. Well, I like onions. Sorry. Yep. See, now there's fighting words. John and Petting My Cat are now going at it over onions. Reggae Joe says bacon.
Bacon. Oh, bacon.
Bacon.
That's a correct answer.
Yes, that is.
Everything's better with bacon.
Eduardo, LeBron cannot leave in free agency because he will not be a free agent at the end of the season. It's going to be another season. Yeah. Then he has the option to go ahead after next season.
Zach,
he cannot be traded until the summer as well.
Exactly. Me and Joe were talking about this earlier in the show.
Chili's good chili, yes.
Chili, very nice.
Jalapenos,
very
and
nice,
cheese.
John. Yes.
Provolone, I like provolone. Yes.
Jalapenos and cheese, Zingerstein. I like jalapenos.
Joe, you gotta. Okay, what is your favorite burger topping, Joe? We're trying to lighten the mood before we head on that. All right.
Yeah, he's not frozen.
He just can't. He's speechless at this point. Tommy Burgers, the famous Tommy Burgers. There's a couple here in Vegas, so yeah, they're not too bad at all.
Now, if you had fried pickles and put them,
they're pretty good too. Yeah, but I had some garlic pickles the other day that were really good. But anyways, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Before we head on out, guys, I want to go ahead and talk about Dr. Jerry Buss because tonight, even though it wasn't his birthday actually comes up on the 27th. They did honor Dr. Jerry Buss for Dr. Jerry Buss night at the Crypt. So we'll also go ahead and touch on a little bit about the game and what's coming up on Friday. But before we head on out, please, you mentioned it, Joe, during the broadcast on our live watch party, the reflections of Dr. Jerry Buss. I believe you call him, or was it you, Sean, the best sports owner ever?
Yes, he is. By far. I wouldn't even know who to put second to him. Honestly, He's just above and beyond what your expectations would be. Thank you, Dr. Buss.
Yes. Joe, any thoughts on Dr. Jerry Buss on the night that they honored him at the Crypt? With a loss, of course.
Dr. Buss, it's interesting how when the Bulls had their wrestling-like entrance music, and now from North Carolina, everyone.
That's actually the Alan Parsons Project.
Yeah, I always think of Austin Powers when I hear it.
That's funny, Joe. That's funny.
That whole thing is tainted every time I hear it. It's just like Aaron. As soon as I hear the word Aaron, I'm like, it's Aaron. The Bulls get the credit for having this, again, wrestling-like entrance and show and all that dramatic stuff. Actually,
now everybody does.
It was Dr. Buss, and I'm going in a different lane here with Dr. Buss. Stuff that actually had NBA, like it was NBA shifting type stuff that he did. Number one, he created an atmosphere that was like a concert, like a get together versus just some people walking in and watching, 10 guys going back and forth. He had cheerleaders, he had music, he had just the lights and all that stuff, right? The big one is the regional deal he did with Prime Ticket, where he essentially created his own channel, and that created a whole new thing. Even bigger is naming rights on the arena. Now, just like George Lucas, when he found his plot out in Northern California, happened to be on Lucas Valley Ranch Road, or Lucas Valley Road, I should say. What is the luck that George Lucas finds a plot where it says he didn't put it there? It was there already, right? So sometimes destiny is just, it's waiting for you. When I was a kid, I heard the Great Western Forum. I thought Dr. Buss was creating a Western-like theme of the arena. Great Western Forum. That's a great name for a stadium. I didn't know it was a bank. It's like Great Western. It was a bank. Like when I got older. So excitement, regional programming, and then advertisement.
He's very innovative.
He was probably the most innovative owner in the history of the NBA. And not only was he, he used to have a calculator. I think you guys know this. He used to have a calculator, not on his desk. It wasn't for him. It's for you. Mm-hmm. He could do everything in his mind. He was a PhD in chemistry. So Dr. Buss, much like Jimmy Johnson, since we've been talking about the Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson had a degree in psychology. He understood people. He understood what made things tick. Dr. Buss understood strategy, numbers, what's going to do this versus this. If you do, he could calculate all that. He was half a genius. And on top of that, he was just, even after Shaq yelled at him to give him an extension, he didn't get angry.
Chill.
He was chill, right? We were angry for him. I remember when Shaq did it in a preseason game, pay me, mother, you know what? And I'm sitting there going, dude, this guy's already paid you like $240 million and you're yelling at him? And the guy lived as good of a life as you could have ever lived. And it was a celebration when he passed. It was a celebration. He had a hell of a life. I know it wasn't. I know for the Christians out there, maybe not so much, but for the regular folk, he impacted a lot of people, and he impacted this lifetime in a way where I don't think we'll ever see. And as far as a second ownership, if we're talking about the NBA, I could say maybe the San Antonio Spurs ownership would probably come in second over the last 50 years.
I could see that. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Because the Celtics would be in a distant third. Well, actually, probably you put in the last 50 years, might have put Chicago for
I
that
think
run.
as far as great sports team owners go, if there was a number two, it'd likely be Robert Kraft.
Boy, that's as far as just like in terms of changing the game or just what was
Just
that?
great, just in terms of success. So I would put him number two, below Dr. Buss.
Here's where I'll give Bob Kraft some credit. Bob Kraft instantly realized he made a massive mistake with Bill Parcells and said to himself, I'm theorizing because it makes sense when I think about it. He knew he made a mistake with Bill Parcells. And Parcells had that famous quote, if they, they should at least give us the chance, if we're going to make the food, we should be able to go have a say in what we're going to buy, right? I'm paraphrasing, but you know what I mean. I think Bob Kraft recognized that he made a mistake with that and didn't let it happen again with Bill Belichick. And that carried on to where it did. So that I will commend him. As far as this ownerships in football, I don't know, man.
Well, Joe, I call Dr. Buss the greatest owner in team sports. So if we were looking at all four major sports, I would just put Mr. Kraft below him.
Yeah,
I think
you have some validity there for sure, and for sure, Jerry Buss. I've racked my brain here since you said it on playback. Yeah, I can't pick anyone else. I mean, you're talking about while he was the owner alive, 10 championships.
10. That's
10.
10.
With the 16, since you guys all like the appearance part.
Cuban's
16.
Cuban's owned the Mavericks for 21 years. He only has one.
Well, that's because he never had Magic and Shaq and Kobe and Kareem and those guys. I mean, the talent does help, but at the same time, Magic did this. Buss wanted Magic. There were some guys that wanted Sidney Moncrief. Some people wanted Dominique Wilkins. He picked James Worthy or wanted James Worthy. Dr. Buss made some really good calls for a guy that didn't know a lot about basketball. And again, a lot of it was because he had this thing in his head that was half a genius. He understood concepts. Why this, why that? And James Worthy, I've been actually getting that question a lot lately about James Worthy being a third option. I said, if the Lakers don't draft James Worthy, we do not win the 1988 NBA championship.
Sure.
We don't. We have no shot at winning that championship without James Worthy.
And I know he gets a lot of heat for the one that they lost because of his errant pass, but he helped put them in a position where they were able to win that series.
Yeah, that 84 thing was a burner. When I got older and understood what was going on, Bird doesn't beat Magic. Lakers are sitting a couple of championships ahead of the Celtics. It's that close sometimes, guys. That's why it's important to always focus and always think, go all out, because it's those little things that'll cost you a championship. And that's what
Reggae
that is.
Reggae Joe, there is less than a 0% chance, less than 0 that Kareem hugs LeBron when he breaks his record. That will not happen. That's a fantasy.
Okay, guys. Gerald's kind of sort of looked at me sideways about this because Gerald likes, he likes nice stuff. I wonder what is it with him.
I'm trying to look at you sideways now. It's really hard to do.
I've gone on Kareem for years about his pettiness. He's come off extremely petty for a man who arguably could be the greatest basketball player of all time. Now, I don't think any center can be the greatest. Unfortunately, that's just how I look at things, because it's like you can't. You got to wait for somebody else to get you the ball. It's got to be a separate section. It's like pitchers. Pitchers are pitchers. They're not the greatest baseball players. They're pitchers. So the one that kind of really set me off to the point where I'm like, ugh, is when he whined about his statue. It's just a grown man like that with all that he's done, crying about a statue. Really? You've gotten to that point in your 60s to be crying about a statue? If it happens, it happens. Why do you have to cry about it? And he wants to have that scoring record. Well, then maybe he should have played a couple more years then.
True indeed. But once again,
Don't
as
ever
long-
look at me sideways again, by the way.
Again, that's hard to do, especially when you're up there.
Yeah, because every time I talk about Kareem and what he does, you act like I'm sitting around like making stuff up. I'm telling you what I'm seeing here.
Oh, why would I say that? I don't disagree with you on that. Kareem is a, how should I say this? A mercurial individual.
See what I'm saying? You have to use some fancy word.
No, that's
He's a very
good
complex.
word for
He's a
that's good
crybaby.
word for him.
He's a very complex individual.
He's not
He's very
complex. He's a
complicated.
crybaby.
I do believe a lot about and do agree with a lot of his stances on as far as from a
The funny thing is,
social
he's got the best.
Yes.
By the way, he's got the
And-
best statue too. By the way,
But I again, his in regards to some of the things he said about the current way that basketball is played, LeBron, some other things, he's very pointed in his comments, and yeah, it's easy to disagree with him on that.
As far as Joe's correct there. As far as basketball is concerned, there's a lot of vanity, right? Like Magic Skyhook. When Kareem saw him do it in practice on his own, he was offended basically, and he told Irvin that no, you're not going to embarrass me by shooting the baby Skyhook like that. This is the way you do it. So there, I agree with Joe. I think I love Kareem, and like Joe said, like he's got a top 3 resume all time as far as NBA is concerned, both personal and team accolades. But there's a certain vanity with him about his career, about the perception of him. And, and he just didn't whine about the statue. He's also whined that, he never got a fair shake at a head coaching job. But I digress. That's a story for a different day.
Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do fall 116-111. But guys, we'll be back on Friday. I know our schedule for Thursday, I don't think anything is planned. I know we're contemplating when we can go ahead and get together for a Lakers History 101 because Towelgate is on the mind. NBA observations, plan to go ahead and try to see if we can put out some more of that as well. I know we're doing a lot of NBA observations on our live watch parties. They're really good conversations, and if you are missing them, you're missing out on some great stuff. Unfiltered. And Zangerstein said she can't join because she would be very unfiltered. Go ahead. Joe curses.
More
Sean
the
curses.
merrier.
Yeah.
More the merrier,
Come on
Gerald.
down. Check us out at again for our games during the games, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Nick Molina does a great job as well when he's on. We actually had Henry from Courtside Lakers. He was there for the first time the other night. So yeah, go ahead and check out. Be part of the fun right there for you during the games right here at Lakers Fast Break. But I will say before we head on out, the doom and gloom heads out because on Friday, Memphis rolls into town on an 11-game winning streak. Your thoughts, guys? It's going to be a 7 o'clock starting time, I believe. And if that's the case, do the Lakers have any shot in winning, Joe? Give me that one-word answer.
No.
That's what I thought it would be. Sean, any chance the Grizzlies win? I mean, the Grizzlies don't win on Friday?
Hard to believe, Gerald. Hard to believe it that they're on such a torrid streak right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really tough ask, and that's the way you close out your homestand, which was looking so good. Look, I thought things were going to be a lot better for the team. Sean, it's just not gone right at all.
Not at all, Gerald. And we talked about this 10-game stretch here where you're playing 9 out of 10 teams who are either in the playoff position or in the play-in position, and I call it the Savage 10. because it is savage. You are playing some teams that could possibly gut us. And we lost this one. I think we need to go win 7 of the next 10. So that means winning 7 of the next 9. And if you're losing to Memphis on Friday, that means you got to win 7 of 8. And I don't see that happening as of right now. Buckle up because the road's going to get a little bit more bumpy.
Joe, you and I have been on the Denver train as far as winning the Western Conference since day one. Those were our pick.
No, I get the credit. I said it first.
No, I said it. Go check the tape. We both agreed that Denver was going to be number 1. But let's talk about Memphis real quick. Memphis, really strong defensive team. Great
Triple
young
J,
nucleus.
the Block Panther.
Yeah, Triple J is just incredible. The defensive player of the year because I think he's now played enough games. Do you see Memphis, ending up being on top of the Western Conference? I think there's a definite, real possibility of that happening.
Yes, I think it's very
well.
possible.
After you did that twirl thing at the beginning, it's not looking as great.
I will say this though, Gerald. Last season they were very quiet at the trade deadline, like dead silent. I think they need to make a move. I think you need. Go ahead, Joe.
You said it. They need one more guy to be we're going to need them to be really good before they face Boston, because we're going to have to go through this again this year because Boston's going to the finals in the East.
Yeah, I agree.
So we need to cheer for Denver now.
Or we need to cheer for Memphis or somebody that's
Memphis is too young. I don't think they have enough to.
I don't think, like you said, Denver or Memphis, they need another part. They need another piece, I think.
But I think Denver could be that they need one more guy that can just. They're Rasheed Wallace, like the 04 Pistons, that just gets them to a level where they're like, okay, we can get to the finals now. We can be competitive. Because
let me ask you,
Denver's a bad matchup for the Celtics should they meet.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Can Denver play enough defense to win the game? That's in a tight.
There's really no
series.
defense in the NBA anymore, anyways.
Well, in playoffs, I have a feeling in the playoffs they are going to increase the level of defense. Obviously, you game plan better against teams because of that, and I think the defense will be a little bit more apparent during the playoffs and/or finals.
What kind of parent?
Apparent.
It
means the defense will be better, Joe, in the playoffs.
Parents?
But before we head on out, I want to go ahead and ask, this has been asked in our awesome chat, the best Lakers chat room that's out there at the Lakers Fast Break. Before we head on out, Sean, Joe, the question's been out there. I already answered it in the chat earlier. And that is, do you think the Lakers will make the playoffs? Because it's been asked more than once by our great Lakers chat room that's been out there. So I ask you at this point, Lakers are 20-25, 45 games in. Do they still have a chance? Are they going to be able to make at least the play-in? Let's go at least to make the play-in.
Okay, I give the percentages of the play-in right now at less than 20%. I put it around 15%.
Well, I said 10 beginning of the year. I'll stick to it.
I said they were going to be in 10th place, and they have not even met my expectations. I'm going to say that there's a 10% shot of them actually making the playoffs at this point. They have to go ahead and hurdle too many teams. Teams are playing.
There's a 50% chance that they're going to make the playoffs, but there's only a 10% chance of that.
You sound like Scott Steiner.
That's an old naked
Or
gun.
little Giants. Football is 80% mental.
If you want to see something
physical.
If you want to see something funny, type in Scott Steiner math equation impact promo, and you'll know what I mean on that, because it's some of the funniest things you'll ever see about his addition on that. But before we head on out, I will tell you right now that we will be back on Friday for sure. Or if something comes up on Thursday, obviously we'll go ahead and be right here. So if you're subscribed, you'll get the latest notification when we're on the air. But definitely be back here on Friday after our live watch party. go ahead, please join us for our live watch parties each and every time out. Nick, Sean, Joe, they all do a great job right there for you at the Lakers Fast Break live watch party as he mimics my hands while doing so. But before we end out, just want to thank everybody for watching. To anybody out there that's now joining us after the 15 different Lakers Fast Break groups I joined today that I just shared this to, hopefully you'll be able to go ahead and stay with us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. To the group at Courtside Lakers on Instagram. If you're watching us now for the first time, welcome and be a part of the Lakers Fast Break by checking us out and subscribing to us either at Courtside Lakers or go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube. It's probably the best place to start off with, or Twitch or Facebook as well. But guys, it's been great. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
Yeah, I just wanted to let Joe know it's not even 11:30 his time, and he's yawning, and it's almost 3:00 my time, and I just want to say I put in the effort.
I've been up since 5. My eyes are turning red.
All right, well, let's get you guys out of here so you can get some rest. Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be back again for the game. I believe it's a 7 o'clock starting time right there for you for the Lakers at home to finish off a terrible homestand. Will the chants get louder to Jeanie for sell this team? We'll find out, but of course we'll be here after the game to report it on for you, and hopefully we'll be able, since what you guys are amazing in the chat room. But once again, thanks so much to Z, Petting My Cat, John McCallion, Reggae Joe, new face out there. Appreciate
Reggae
it.
Joe.
Yes.
Please be a regular, Reggae Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Because brought everything to, burger toppings. That was great by Reggae Joe. Jim Howe, Gary A, just incredible. Douglas, thank you so much for being a part of what we do here at the Lakers Fast Break.
Anybody ever put calamari on a burger? I haven't, but
I have not as of yet, but that's something interesting to try out. You can put anything on a burger, seemingly.
Pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be back on Friday for sure after our awesome live watch party. Be a part of it on playback.tv. But we'll be here, and please go ahead and like and subscribe so you can get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air on Friday right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Have I tried sushi on a burger? Maybe not everything goes well on a burger.
Yeah, definitely not sushi.
Pineapple does go on pizza. That's true. Good point, John. Good point indeed. The Lakers Fast Break podcast.